Welcome into Steelers Talk, Yinzers. My name is Jack Sperry. I hope all of you had a great Valentine's Day yesterday. Today we got some great Steelers rumors to cover. I've been talking with our Broncos guy here at Chat Sports. He says the Broncos are willing to deal a couple of players potentially to the Steelers. We'll be talking about those two players in just a second. Then there's a rumor floating around that Bienemy could potentially get an interview to replace Matt Canada as the Steelers offensive coordinator. I'll tell you how true that rumor is in just a second. And then also Todd McShay came out with his mock draft 2.0 for the NFL. It's pretty spicy, and I think he knocked it out of the park for the Steelers. I will reveal who he has the Steelers taking at the end of the show, so make sure to stick around for that. But before we get into today's action, join us live tomorrow, Thursday. Every Thursday we do a live show here on the channel, and only the real ones show up at 4 p.m. Eastern Time to join me and Chugs here on Steelers Talk Live. It's a really great time. We had a great first show last week. We're going to be doing it every week now, Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you stop by and have a good time talking some Steelers with us. And before we get into the show, I want to mention this. Adam Schefter reported today that John Mitchell, the longtime Steelers assistant coach, is going to retire this offseason after 29 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was a longtime member of the Bill Cowher era here in Pittsburgh, and then also he transitioned over to the Tomlin era, I should say, and he's done a fantastic job. He's been the assistant head coach since 2018. So go ahead and like this video to thank John Mitchell for 29 years of service to the Steelers organization. He's a fantastic presence in that locker room inside that building. He's going to be sorely missed inside the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. All right, so I've been talking with our Broncos guy here at Chat Sports, Matthew Peterson, and he told me yesterday that the Broncos are willing to deal a couple of players, and to me, I think that the Steelers should definitely look into what it would cost to get these players. Big name, number one, Garett Bolles, left tackle, former second-team All-Pro just a couple of seasons ago, apparently is going to be on the trade block. And if the Steelers want to trade for a left tackle this offseason, Garett Bolles is probably the best candidate out there. I think that, you look at last year, he's coming off of some really major injuries. He tore his ACL, he had a leg fracture, and he dislocated his hip, took him out for the entire season. So there's definitely that concern because he's coming back off of very major injuries, but he's considered one of the best left tackles in the National Football League when he's healthy. He's been a second-team All-Pro back there in 2020, where he was the third highest graded left tackle, or just tackled in general, in the National Football League. And you can see here, you got to remember when you look at these numbers and these rankings that there's two starting offensive tackles on every single NFL team. So you look at those numbers, those are all above average numbers. And then, of course, in 2020, he was an elite left tackle. This past year didn't have enough snaps to get a ranking from PFF, but at the end of the day, guys, this is somebody that is probably the best person outside of the draft that the Steelers could go get. Taylor Lewan has concerns. Isaiah Wynn has concerns. If the Steelers want to go get a veteran to protect Kenny Pickett heading into the future, Garett Bolles is probably arguably the best option out there. And because he's been dealing with these injuries, and the Broncos are kind of looking under Sean Payton, there's a new era in Denver. They're looking to get a lot of new draft capital. So I think that the Steelers could get a pretty decent price for him. So here's a couple of reasons that the Steelers would want to trade for Bolles. He's been an elite left tackle in the recent past, right? Over a 90 grade as a left tackle in 2020, second-team All-Pro that year. In the recent past, he's been one of the best left tackles in the National Football League. Number two, you don't have to take a risk on a rookie, right? If you draft a rookie, that comes with inherent risk, and every decision has a risk. Bolles comes with risk. He's been dealing with injuries, but at the end of the day, a veteran is a veteran, and you know what you're getting if he is healthy. And then finally, you could be potentially better in the short term here with Garett Bolles, right? Maybe in the long term, you're better by getting a rookie in the first round and they develop into a true franchise left tackle, but you could potentially trade for one right now, and you could have elite production from the left tackle position if he is healthy and if he gets back to full strength. But here are some reasons to maybe avoid a trade for Garett Bolles, right? He's coming off a pair of very major injuries to his leg and to his hip. Those are some very serious injuries. There are serious questions as to whether or not Bolles, at his size especially, because he's a bit of a light kind of a lighter left tackle at just 300 pounds. Is he going to be able to get back to full strength and back to all-pro level play? Then he's also a bit more expensive than a rookie, right? His contract's not terrible. It's about $17 million and change as a cap hit next season, so it's not cheap, but at the end of the day, like, the production's there, guys. Like, and then finally, not getting any younger here, 30 years old, along with the injuries. Maybe it is better to just draft a guy and, someone that's younger, somebody that has a fresh start. But, you look at this situation, guys, there's definitely pros and cons to trading for Bolles. And according to Matthew Peterson, our Broncos host here at Chat Sports, this is what it would cost, a third-round pick to go get a guy like Garett Bolles. Now, if you're going to go get a rookie, you're going to be spending a first-round pick on that rookie. But if you go and get Garett Bolles here for a third-round pick, say, you could go get a lockdown cornerback at number 17 overall, maybe like a Cam Smith or a Joey Porter Jr., right? You don't have to use that pick on a future left tackle. You already have that locked up, and you're just using a third-round pick. Now, the injuries do scare you a little bit, but I think that the Steelers might end up considering this. But let me know in the comment section right now, would you consider making this trade? Type Y if you think yes, or type N if you think no. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So whenever you get an ad break here on the show, go ahead and go into the comment section, find that pinned comment, and answer today's question. The second player that Matthew Peterson, our Broncos host, has said that the Broncos are looking to trade right now, it's Rondald Darby. And, of course, the Steelers are looking for cornerback help this offseason. Last year, also coming off of an ACL tear. He suffered that in Week 5. Apparently, his rehab is going well, so I will note that. But he has been a good cornerback in this league for a very long time, right? He was good with the Eagles. He's been pretty good with the Broncos. Last 2 years haven't been fantastic, I will say, but he's been in a similar style defense all his career with lots of man-match principles. He would fit right into what the Steelers want to do. He's a bit of a smaller guy. He's not going to be like that lockdown number one corner guy at 5'11", 193. And right now, Matthew Peterson says that the Broncos would probably deal him for a fourth-round pick. So you look at this scenario. You give up the 121st overall pick for Rondald Darby, someone that's going to start for you right away. And you look at that fourth-round pick, if you're the Steelers, are you really going to get a starter from that pick? This is a scenario where you could potentially get a starter on day one. But at the end of the day, guys, I don't think the Steelers are going to be too interested in Rondald Darby because I think they're going to be more hunting for that number one lockdown corner this offseason, whether that be through the draft, whether that be maybe a Jalen Ramsey trade, if they could somehow pull that off. They're going to be looking for someone to be that number one bona fide lockdown corner, and Rondald Darby, to me, is just not that. All right, guys, we got more rumors coming up in just a second, but let's have a word from our sponsor here at Fanatics, and they have a great selection of terrible towels, guys. If you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and you don't have a terrible towel, you're not truly, you haven't been baptized as a Pittsburgh Steeler fan. I got mine right here. I got mine from Fanatics, guys. The delivery times are really good. The prices are really fair. I can't put that upside down, man. But they got a bunch of different designs. Like they got camo. They got a Spanish one in there. Like they got a bunch of whatever your specific flavor of terrible towel is. They've got it for you. They got great delivery times, fair prices, guys. So go to chatsports.com/terrible towel to officially become a Pittsburgh Steeler fan today. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the Eric Bienemy stuff because I've been seeing it a ton on Steelers Twitter, and people are saying that they should bring in Eric Bienemy for an interview to replace Matt Canada. So Andrew Filipponi, big name on Steelers Twitter, this is what he put out yesterday. The Steelers should try to hire Eric Bienemy as offensive coordinator. Tomlin needs to explain to Art that Bienemy wasn't available when the decision to keep Canada was made. Hiring Bienemy would be a game changer, and at the end of the day, I agree with Filipponi. I would do this at 10 out of 10 times. If I was Art Rooney, if I was Mike Tomlin, and Eric Bienemy wanted to come to the Steelers, I would make this move 100 times out of 100. He's won 2 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. He's been to the AFC Championship as the offensive coordinator for the last 5 years. He has been a tremendous success as the offensive play caller in Kansas City. A lot of people think Andy Reid called the plays in Kansas City. It's actually Eric Bienemy. Of course, you do have Andy Reid in that offensive meeting room during the week. You have that. You do have have that game planning element, but Eric Bienemy is somebody that has an incredibly impressive track record, and right now he's looking to establish himself as one of the top offensive minds in the league outside of Kansas City. But at the end of the day, guys, there's practically no shot this happens, in my opinion. The team is already committed to Matt Canada. Multiple times they have said that he is coming back, and right now it's looking like they're going to be looking potentially to hire a senior offensive assistant, but not somebody to outright replace Matt Canada. Even though I would be somebody that would be in favor of bringing in Bienemy to replace Canada, I'm not a fan of Matt Canada. You guys, people that listen to the show regularly know that, but at the end of the day, it's time to look at some realistic options for who to bring in as a senior offensive assistant. We've talked about Pep Hamilton earlier this week. I think he would be an excellent fit. I think that his style of offense is something that could really complement what Matt Canada wants to do. And then Byron Leftwich, another name that has connections with the Steelers franchise, with Mike Tomlin, somebody that could help Canada in the game planning phases and take his offense to the next level. All right, guys, go ahead right now and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Here on Steelers Talk, we try to provide you guys comprehensive Steelers news and rumors content all year long. And right now, it's the offseason. News is going to break. Changes are going to happen. If you want breaking news coverage all offseason long to stay up to date on what's happening with the black and gold, click that subscribe button right now. All right, so now Todd McShay came out with his NFL Mock Draft 2.0, and I'm going to react to the pick here. I am going to love it right now. He has them taking Christian Gonzalez at number 17 overall, and listeners of the show know just how much I love me some Christian Gonzalez, man. This guy, I think, has everything that you look for in a number one cornerback. He's got the size, he's got the arm length, he's got the fluidity, he's got the speed, he's got the ball skills, as evidenced by 4 interceptions this past year. He's got literally everything that you want. He's got a high PFF grade. He was the 60th highest graded cornerback in the NCAA last year, and then also he's got the versatility. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. Like, this guy is just a slam dunk pick at the cornerback position, in my opinion. And if you're the Steelers, you got to be crossing your fingers that this guy gets to you at number 17. If he gets there at number 17, I think you got to take him, even if like Broderick Jones is there. Like, Christian Gonzalez is one of the top prospects in the NFL draft this year, in my opinion. He is a can't-miss prospect if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers, and to me, he is cornerback 1. But let me know in the comment section who you have as your cornerback 1 in this year's NFL draft class. Type CG if you agree with me, Christian Gonzalez. Type DW for Devin Witherspoon, JPJ for Joey Porter Jr., or CS for Cam Smith. All right, so now last bit of news here. ESPN came out with their NFL Power Rankings for 2023, their way too early version. And we talked about the Super Bowl odds for the Steelers, how they're 25th in the National Football League and the highest Super Bowl odds, but ESPN looks upon this team a little bit more favorably, as they have them as the 14th best team in the National Football League heading into the 2023 offseason. I think this is about where the Steelers are, to be honest. As it sits right now, I think they're about 14th. I like Kenny Pickett. I like where he's going. I think the defense, when TJ Watt is on the field, I think it's elite. I think that the offensive line is going to get better. I think they have weapons on offense. I think they have a really good tight end. I think this is about where the Steelers are at. I think this is much better than the Super Bowl odds at 25th. But at the end of the day, I am very excited to see what the Steelers can do in 2023. All right, guys, go on to social media right now and follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Jack_Sperry or at SpareDog.football on Instagram. That's where I put my NFL mock drafts. That's where I put additional Steelers content on there. And if you follow me on Twitter today, guys, I will go ahead and give you a shout out on tomorrow's show. All right, guys, I appreciate you, Steeler Nation. I will see you guys tomorrow for the live show. And until then, peace.